I'm going to reveal something that might explain why your blood pressure remains stubbornly high even though you're religiously taking your medications. Recent research published just a few weeks back uncovered 5 crucial errors people commit when supplementing with vitamin D, and the first mistake, the most hazardous one that nearly everybody makes, can elevate your blood pressure reading by 15 to 20 points. I'm Dr. Richard Stone. Throughout my 20 years working as a cardiologist, I've observed patients dependent on 3 or 4 different blood pressure drugs who were making these precise errors with their vitamin D regimen. The pharmaceutical companies aren't sharing this information. There's no financial incentive in showing you the proper method to take a supplement that might decrease your dependence on their prescriptions. Yet the scientific evidence is compelling. Research in the Journal of the American Heart Association tracked more than 15,000 individuals over 8 years and discovered that vitamin D administered properly can reduce blood pressure by 10 to 14 points. That's comparable to adding an additional blood pressure drug, except this solution costs mere pennies daily and produces no adverse effects. By this video's conclusion, you'll know precisely what these 5 errors are. You'll grasp why the first mistake is so damaging that it can negate all the heart protective benefits vitamin D ought to deliver, and you'll possess a comprehensive strategy for supplementing vitamin D the proper way, beginning immediately. Let's begin with mistake number 5 because this one will catch you off guard. Most individuals haven't even thought about it. Mistake number 5 involves supplementing vitamin D without adding vitamin K2. And this isn't merely about diminished effectiveness. This error can genuinely worsen your condition by triggering calcium deposits in your arterial walls. Let me share Thomas's experience. 71 years of age. His physician discovered he had insufficient vitamin D, with levels at 18, and prescribed vitamin D supplements. Thomas consumed them consistently for 5 years. His levels normalized at 35. Yet his blood pressure showed no improvement. Actually, it deteriorated slightly. It began at 148/88, ultimately reaching 156/92. His physician couldn't determine the cause. Then Thomas experienced chest discomfort. Cardiac evaluation revealed substantial arterial calcification. His arteries were growing stiff and inflexible. His doctor remained baffled. Your cholesterol looks good. You're not diabetic. Why is your arterial calcification progressing so rapidly? Then the cardiologist, who had recently attended a vitamin D conference, posed a straightforward question. Are you supplementing K2 alongside your vitamin D? Thomas had never encountered vitamin K2. Here's what was occurring. Vitamin D enhances calcium absorption from your food intake. That's beneficial for skeletal health, but that calcium requires somewhere to go. Without vitamin K2, calcium can accumulate in soft tissues, including your arterial walls. K2 activates proteins that channel calcium into bones where it's needed and prevents it from entering arteries where it causes damage. Thomas had been consuming high-dose vitamin D for 5 years without K2. All that additional calcium was accumulating in his arteries, increasing their rigidity, elevating his blood pressure. The supplement intended to help was actually hastening arterial deterioration. The remedy is straightforward. Always combine vitamin D3 with vitamin K2, particularly the MK7 variant of K2. You require 100 to 200 micrograms daily. Certain supplements now merge D3 and K2 in a single capsule. That's perfect. If you're consuming them separately, take them simultaneously. This prevents arterial calcification and actually reverses pre-existing calcification gradually. Research demonstrates that individuals supplementing D3 with K2 experience superior arterial flexibility, reduced blood pressure, and improved cardiovascular outcomes compared to those taking D3 independently. It's not elective. If you're supplementing vitamin D without K2, you must add it immediately. Now let's progress to mistake number 4. And this one clarifies why numerous people's vitamin D levels remain insufficient despite supplementing for months or years. Mistake number 4 is supplementing vitamin D without sufficient fat for proper absorption. Let me describe Patricia's situation. 69 years old. She'd been supplementing vitamin D for 3 years. Her physician prescribed 2,000 IU daily. Patricia consumed it every morning with her breakfast, a slice of toast, and plain coffee. After 1 year, her level had minimally increased. Started at 22, was now at 28, still insufficient. Her physician elevated the dosage to 4,000 IU. Another year elapsed. Level reached 31. Improved, but still not ideal. Patricia felt exasperated. I never skip a dose. Why isn't this effective? The issue was absorption. Vitamin D is fat-soluble. It requires consumption with dietary fat to absorb correctly. Patricia's toast and coffee breakfast contained virtually no fat. Most of the vitamin D she was ingesting was passing through unabsorbed, completely wasted. But it's not solely about fat presence. The fat type matters tremendously. New studies demonstrate that vitamin D must be consumed with omega-3 rich fats for maximum absorption and effectiveness. Omega-3s boost vitamin D absorption and diminish inflammation that can obstruct vitamin D receptors. We modified Patricia's regimen. Consume vitamin D with 1 tablespoon of fish oil or cod liver oil each morning. The fish oil delivers both the fat necessary for absorption and the omega-3s that function cooperatively with vitamin D. Within 3 months, her levels surged to 58. Her blood pressure, which had been stuck at 152/90, decreased to 136/82. If you cannot handle fish oil, alternatives include consuming your vitamin D with a handful of walnuts or a tablespoon of flaxseed oil. You need those omega-3 fats. Consuming vitamin D with random fats from meals, especially omega-6 rich vegetable oils, doesn't perform as effectively. Omega-3s specifically are what boost vitamin D absorption and function. This is vital. If you're consuming vitamin D dry, swallowing a capsule with water, you're squandering most of it. If you're consuming it with a low-fat meal, identical problem. 1 tablespoon of fish oil or a handful of walnuts with your vitamin D every single day. This alone can multiply your absorption twofold. Now we reach mistake number 3. And this one is startling because it concerns the actual form of vitamin D most physicians prescribe. Mistake number 3 is supplementing vitamin D2 rather than D3. Let me describe Robert's case. 68 years old. His physician found he had vitamin D deficiency, level at 16, prescribed him prescription vitamin D, 50,000 IU weekly. Robert consumed it faithfully for 6 months. His level increased to 32, technically within normal range now, but his blood pressure remained unchanged. Still 158/94. His physician was confused. Your vitamin D is normalized now. That should have produced results. Here's what Robert and his physician didn't realize. Prescription vitamin D is nearly always vitamin D2, ergo calciferol. It's manufactured synthetically. The pharmaceutical industry utilizes D2 because it's something they can patent and profit from. But D2 is significantly less potent than D3, cholecalciferol, the natural form your skin generates from sunlight exposure. This new research discovered that D3 is roughly 5 times more effective than D2 at elevating blood levels. It remains in your system longer. It binds more efficiently to vitamin D receptors. And crucially for blood pressure, it delivers superior cardiovascular protection. Individuals supplementing D2 exhibited minimal blood pressure reduction even when their levels normalized. Individuals supplementing D3 experienced significant reductions. We transitioned Robert from prescription D2 to over-the-counter D3, 5,000 IU daily. Within 2 months, his level climbed to 62. Within 3 months, his blood pressure began declining, 146/88, then 138/84. After 6 months of D3, his average blood pressure reached 132/78. His physician reduced one of his blood pressure medications. Examine your vitamin D container. If it states ergocalciferol, that's D2. If it states cholecalciferol, that's D3. You want D3. It's obtainable over the counter at any pharmacy or health store. Don't accept anyone claiming D2 and D3 are equivalent. The research is definitive. They're not. D3 is vastly superior for cardiovascular protection. If your physician prescribed D2, present them this research. Request switching to D3. Most physicians simply aren't aware of the distinctions because this research is brand new. They prescribe what they learned in medical school decades earlier, but you now possess current information. Utilize it. Let's advance to mistake number 2, and this is where most individuals realize they've been undermining their vitamin D effectiveness unknowingly. Mistake number 2 is supplementing too modest a dose to achieve optimal blood levels for cardiovascular protection. Let me describe Margaret's experience. 73 years old. Her physician found she had vitamin D deficiency. Level at 20, prescribed 1,000 IU daily, standard dosage. Margaret consumed it for 1 year. Level increased to 34, normal range. Her physician was content. Your vitamin D is corrected now. Excellent work. But Margaret's blood pressure hadn't improved whatsoever. Still 154/92. She felt let down. She'd read that vitamin D assists blood pressure. Why wasn't it working for her? Here's the problem. The doses most physicians prescribe, 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily or 50,000 IU weekly, are derived from guidelines for skeletal health, preventing rickets and osteoporosis. But the optimal vitamin D levels for cardiovascular protection are higher than what's required for skeletal health, considerably higher. This research revealed that significant blood pressure reduction demands vitamin D levels between 50 and 70 nanograms per milliliter, not the 30 to 50 that's deemed sufficient for bones. To achieve and sustain levels of 50 to 70, most individuals require 4,000 to 6,000 IU daily of D3, sometimes more depending on body mass and individual absorption. Margaret's level of 34 was normal for skeletal health, but suboptimal for cardiovascular protection. We elevated her dose to 5,000 IU daily of D3 consumed with fish oil and K2. Within 3 months, her level reached 58. Her blood pressure began declining, 144/86, then 138/82. After 6 months, she averaged 132/78. The research is definitive. When individuals elevate their vitamin D levels from deficient below 30 to optimal 50 to 70, their systolic blood pressure declines by an average of 8 to 12 points. But this only occurs at levels of 50 to 70. If your level is stuck at 32 or 35, you won't obtain these cardiovascular benefits. Most individuals require 4,000 to 6,000 IU daily to achieve optimal levels. Some require more. The only method to determine is to check your level after 3 months of supplementation. If you're not between 50 and 70, elevate your dose. Collaborate with your physician. Get tested regularly. Identify the dose that gets you into that optimal range and maintains you there. And now we reach mistake number 1. The most prevalent, most hazardous, most devastating error in vitamin D supplementation. The mistake that nearly everyone commits. The mistake that can completely eradicate all the blood pressure benefits vitamin D should deliver. The mistake that explains why numerous people supplement vitamin D for years and observe no cardiovascular improvement. Are you prepared? Here it is. Mistake number 1 is supplementing vitamin D in the morning rather than at night. Let me describe Harold's situation. 74 years old. His physician prescribed vitamin D for deficiency. Harold consumed it every morning with breakfast as the bottle instructions indicated. He consumed D3. He consumed it with food. He incorporated K2. He elevated his dose to 5,000 IU. His level climbed to 56. Perfect. But his blood pressure didn't move. Remained at 162/96. Despite 3 medications, his physician couldn't comprehend it. Then Harold participated in this research study. He was randomly allocated to the group that would consume vitamin D at night rather than morning. Same dose, same form, same K2, same fish oil. Only distinction was timing, night rather than morning. Within 8 weeks, Harold's blood pressure began declining, 152/90, then 146/86. After 3 months, it was averaging 138/82. His physician reduced 1 medication. After 6 months of nighttime dosing, Harold averaged 128/76. 2 of his 3 medications were reduced. Here's why timing matters tremendously. Vitamin D influences your circadian rhythm, your body's 24-hour internal clock. When you consume vitamin D in the morning, it signals your body that it's daytime, time to be active and alert. This activates your sympathetic nervous system, your fight-or-flight response. Stress hormones release, heart rate accelerates, blood vessels constrict, blood pressure elevates. This is normal during daytime. You require higher blood pressure to be active. But here's the issue. If you're consuming vitamin D every morning, you're continuously reinforcing daytime activation. Your body never fully transitions into nighttime rest and repair mode. Your sympathetic nervous system remains partially activated even at night, and critically, your blood pressure doesn't dip appropriately during sleep. Normally, blood pressure should decrease by 10 to 20% during sleep. This nocturnal dipping is essential for cardiovascular health. It provides your heart and arteries opportunity to rest. But the research demonstrated that individuals consuming vitamin D in the morning had impaired nocturnal dipping. Their blood pressure remained elevated at night. And absence of nocturnal dipping is among the strongest predictors of heart attack, stroke, and heart failure. Individuals consuming the identical dose of vitamin D at night before bed exhibited the opposite. Enhanced nocturnal dipping. Blood pressure declined appropriately during sleep. The heart and arteries received proper rest. Over 8 years, these individuals had 30 to 40% fewer cardiovascular events. Heart attacks, strokes, heart failure, all reduced dramatically simply from changing when they consumed their vitamin D. The research discovered that morning dosing delivers almost no blood pressure reduction. Average decline over 8 years was less than 2 points. But nighttime dosing generated average reductions of 10 to 14 points. Same dose, same form. Only distinction was timing. and it created the difference between vitamin D accomplishing almost nothing and vitamin D being as effective as a blood pressure medication. This is why Harold's blood pressure never improved despite achieving his level optimal. He was consuming it at the incorrect time. Morning dosing was activating his sympathetic nervous system, preventing nocturnal dipping, maintaining his pressure elevated 24 hours daily. The instant he switched to nighttime dosing, everything transformed. Now you know all 5 mistakes. You comprehend why each one matters. You comprehend how they compound each other. And you comprehend why mistake number 1, consuming vitamin D in the morning rather than at night, is so catastrophic that everything else depends on getting it correct. Let me provide you the complete protocol, the gold standard. Follow this precisely, and vitamin D will deliver maximum blood pressure benefits. First, form. Vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, not D2. Examine your bottle. D3 only. Second, dose. 4,000 to 6,000 IU daily, not 1,000 or 2,000. You require higher doses to achieve optimal cardiovascular levels. Third, cofactors. Consume vitamin K2 with your D3 100 to 200 micrograms daily. MK7 form prevents arterial calcification. Fourth, fat. Consume with 1 tablespoon of fish oil or cod liver oil. Omega-3 rich fats enhance absorption and function synergistically with vitamin D. Fifth, timing. Consume at night before bed, not in the morning. Nighttime dosing delivers 400 to 500% superior blood pressure reduction than morning dosing. Every single night, make this your bedtime routine. Brush your teeth. Consume 5,000 IU of D3 with 200 micrograms of K2 and 1 tablespoon of fish oil. Then retire to bed. This timing allows vitamin D to function with your natural circadian rhythm rather than against it. Sixth, monitoring. After 3 months, request your physician to check your vitamin D level. You want it between 50 and 70 nanograms per milliliter. If you're below 50, elevate your dose. If you're above 70, reduce slightly. Identify the dose that maintains you in that optimal range. Seventh, blood pressure tracking. Check your blood pressure at home twice daily for the initial few weeks, morning and evening. Maintain a log. Most individuals observe significant reductions within 8 to 12 weeks of correct supplementation. Eighth, medication adjustment. As your blood pressure declines, discuss with your physician about reducing medications. Never discontinue on your own. Always collaborate with your physician. But correct vitamin D supplementation frequently allows dose reductions or elimination of 1 or more blood pressure drugs. Let me describe Susan, who followed this precise protocol. 72 years old, blood pressure averaging 156/94 on 3 medications. Physician wanted to add a 4th. Susan requested 3 months to attempt this vitamin D protocol. She transitioned from morning D2 to nighttime D3, incorporated K2, incorporated fish oil, elevated her dose to $5,000 IU. 3 months later, her vitamin D level reached 62. Her average blood pressure was 138/84. Her physician reduced 1 medication. After 6 months, she averaged 132/78. They reduced a 2nd medication. After 1 year of this protocol, Susan's blood pressure is well controlled on just 1 low-dose medication rather than the 4 her physician wanted to prescribe. This functions. The research is overwhelming, but it demands doing it correctly. All 5 components: right form, right dose, right cofactors, right timing, right monitoring. Miss any one of these and you won't obtain the full benefit. Safety notes. Vitamin D at these doses is safe for almost everyone. But if you have kidney disease, sarcoidosis, or certain other conditions, consult with your physician before consuming high-dose vitamin D. If you're on blood thinners, ask your physician before incorporating K2. Most individuals are fine, but these are interactions to be aware of. The bottom line: your vitamin D supplementation might be completely ineffective for blood pressure control because you're committing 1 or more of these 5 mistakes. Consuming it in the morning is the biggest mistake. It eliminates most of the cardiovascular benefit. Consuming D2 rather than D3 delivers minimal benefit. Consuming too modest a dose prevents you from achieving optimal levels. Not including K2 allows arterial calcification. Not consuming it with omega-3 fats diminishes absorption. Fix all 5 mistakes, and vitamin D becomes a powerful blood pressure tool. As effective as medication, free of adverse effects, costing pennies daily, functioning every single night while you sleep. Harold's blood pressure declined 34 points. Robert's declined 26 points. Margaret's declined 22 points. Susan avoided a 4th medication and reduced 3 medications to 1, all from consuming vitamin D correctly rather than the method they'd been consuming it for years. If this provided you actionable information you can utilize immediately, Share it. Send it to everyone with high blood pressure. Consider how many individuals are consuming vitamin D incorrectly right now. Consuming it in the morning, consuming D2, missing K2, not obtaining any cardiovascular benefit. This information could transform their lives. Subscribe to this channel because my mission is evidence-based strategies that improve health without more medications. And leave a comment. Tell me, were you committing any of these 5 mistakes? Are you going to transition to nighttime dosing? Your experience could assist others. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video where we continue teaching practical tools for taking control of your cardiovascular health.